Good morning. Well, let me ask you a question. How much knowledge do you think do you have in your brain that you really need to share effectively with your team? In this morning's broadcast, I'd like to share with you three quick stories to talk about what can happen when knowledge that is crucial for your business is trapped in your head, and what can conversely happen when that knowledge is extracted, pulled out, made trainable, made visible to your team. So let's start with a person. I'm going to call him Jack, and he's in the staffing industry. And I'll read to you real quick a couple of lines from his LinkedIn profile. He says, I'm in the business of people with over 25 years in the staffing industry. I can honestly say that I love what I do. And he does. He's just amazing. He says, we are dedicated to serving our clients and candidates as best as we can at all times, which means that we take the time to develop relationships and truly understand the needs of those we work with, resulting in a great match between the client and the candidates. And so he says furthermore that we develop close, long lasting relationships with our clients and employees, creating a synergy that typically doesn't occur in the staffing environment. Amen to that. I know him, and this is exactly correct. That's exactly what he stands for. You see, though, the thing is, he's been in this industry for 25 years, and he's had his own business for 13 of those years. And for those 13 years, he has been attempting to teach what he's learned as the secret sauce. The secret sauce that's the foundation for making that great match. He's tried to teach that to his people, and his people are smart and they got a lot of it, but they didn't quite completely get it. And the difference between getting it completely and not quite completely uh, is huge, huge, because that meant that Jack had to go and do a lot of the work himself. Still, take care of the biggest clients, the biggest challenges, do all the training, etc. You see. So let me tell you the story. So how it all started. It was a warm afternoon in March um, last year, when Jack and I met, and we talked about what I call brilliance mining, which is about taking knowledge out of your brain and putting it sort of on the table here where you can see it, look at it all, sort it all, make it teachable, chunk it down, simplify it where necessary, and and put it into some sort of system where people can't x-ray your brain. They can't read your mind. That's why you keep, having to dish it out. So let me just do a quick demo. And this is, what happened with Jack is that, you learn some things. This is your Jack's brain here. And you learn some more things. And then you learn a whole bunch of things about, the staffing industry. And then you learn some things about relationships. And then, and you get the picture. You learn all these various things, and you specialize in particular industries and learns about that. But then next thing you know is there's this unique knowledge that I represent by marbles. All these other gems here are one color. So this is unique knowledge that is formed, that comes from, basically, this has occurred to me, comes from the interface of like different subjects, a person living, at the interface of two things. Like here's the industry and here's staffing. And then over here is relationship building, so these three things all come together in a powerful way. And next thing you know, you have all this unique knowledge. And then you got, all these unique marbles that are formed. But then there's more knowledge and more knowledge. And you see then these marbles get buried. And next thing you know, the jar is like all full. And what Jack was trying to do is he was trying to feed that, bite by bite to his team. But it didn't form the cohesive picture. You see, that was the problem. So on that Sunday afternoon, we spoke for an hour over Zoom, and I asked him, Jack, if you could fully teach that secret sauce to your team, only that, because there were definitely other things, other what I call brilliance, that unique knowledge, I call it brilliance for short. Um, but if you could just teach that secret sauce, what would that mean to your business? And this business, let's just say it was around $5 or $6 million, right? So just to give you an idea. He said, I think within a year I could double my business if I could just teach that to all my people completely. And so he was wondering, what does it take to do this brilliance mining? Will it swallow up more of my time because I don't really have that much time? Can I afford it? Will it cost too much money, et cetera, et cetera? And so within the hour, at the end of that hour, he decided absolutely it's a no-brainer, Steffi, let's go. And then 6 weeks later only, after 12 or 13 years of not being able to teach the complete secret sauce to his team, we had it written down and even illustrated. It wasn't made into fancy videos yet, but we had it in a usable form. And there were 2 recruiters who were candidates to be employed in this company. And finding good people, hey, that's not easy. So they saw that and they said, wow, that is different than other things we've looked at. And yes, we want to be part of this team. Jack, where can we sign to be part of your team? And so since then, we have built a whole academy. And that's really quite incredible because now he can track who was trained in what. His team is enthusiastic, and they have said, man, Jack, we wish we had these videos and the tools that we've created. They're simple but very powerful tools, and actually the simplicity makes them so powerful. Because you don't want to bury people, under too much stuff. You want to make it as straightforward and streamlined as possible. So there's always process improvement that happens along with this. So now he's grown his business already at least 50%, and he's adding 2 new locations. And he's looking at franchising. Now think about that. That would not have been possible, but that's not where the story ends. You see, Jack is married and he has 4 kids and loves all of them dearly, just didn't have nearly enough time to spend with them. So now he's been actually recently been on 2 vacations and with his family. And he's also, living out loud more on some of his other interests, building a house on a ranch, a second house, and woodworking and hunting, et cetera, et cetera. See, that's amazing when you can scale your business while you're having more work-life balance, or say it the other way around, have more work-life balance while you're scaling. So whichever way you want to put it. So that's the first story. The second story is actually my own. You see, I'm a recovering PhD chemist. So my jar was full of chemistry knowledge. And then I added, physics and math. And then I realized something. And that is, I realized that whenever you study a subject, as you know more and more and more about that subject, it takes more and more effort to add, another little gem and get a little bit smarter on it. But when you decide to also study another subject, now all of a sudden, if you spend that same effort on that second subject, then you can learn a lot in very little time. And now you have that, you are one of the unique people who, let's say, know about science and business, let's say, or science and marketing, and so forth. And so that interface between these led to, some of those marbles. And that's, again, unique knowledge. It's unique expertise, experience, and even wisdom that comes from, exposing yourself to these different subjects and actually putting them into action for a while, years, decades. And again, they get buried in the jar. And so what happened to me was that I was working with a marketing company but in 2005, I started my own business. I quit my job as a scientist and I started my own business at the corner of initially, science and business development, and it evolved. And so eventually I became an executive coach, and then I was working with a marketing company on better, how to better market myself. And the funny thing was that Irene Donnell, with whom I worked, she recognized this marble in my jar. See, I couldn't see it. And I bet you can't see yours, not nearly clearly enough. And she said, Steffi, what you're really good at? I said, oh, please, please, please tell me. What was that? What is it? And she says, you pull like wisdom out of people's brains and you lay it before them and then you help them do more with it. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, exactly. That is what I do. And that's what I've been doing ever since I can remember. And we said, what do we call that? And we decided that day to call it brilliance extraction. Now that was a few years back. Since then, it's turned into a full-on framework and system called brilliance mining, where we map the brilliance, which means we identify, what in your glass jar that is your brain is the most important brilliance that if we extract it, we could, double your business and make it franchisable, let's say, as happened with Jack. Or, whatever your objective is, grow your business, scale your business, create more options for how to evolve the business, manage your knowledge better, make sure you don't lose it when somebody leaves your company, all of those things. So the first step is mapping, finding those marbles, right? I enjoy that idea of saying, hey, have you lost your marbles? Well, they're still in your jar, but you don't know they're there. It's called unconscious competence. It's in the back of your mind. Use it automatically. Then there's the extraction. We pull the marbles out. But then, you can't feed those marbles to people straight away. You have to do some organizing. You have to simplify it. You have to sequence them. You have to become sort of a teacher. You have to think of who is the audience that's going to get this, right? So that's what my story evolved into. So that's become my specialty, and that led to the brand of the Brilliance Mine, because we mine for your brilliance. We map it, we extract it, and then we help you really make a lot of impact with this. That means more money. That means more work-life balance. That means your knowledge is protected. And that means you can create, an exit option at some point where you can pass it on, because over 70% of businesses cannot be passed on because the key knowledge is all trapped in the mind of the owner. So that brings me to the third story, because I said there's 3 stories, and the third story is yours. And I'm just curious, what marbles do you have in your brain? And I bet that you can, after you've heard me talk about this, at least get a glimpse of what it might be. I'll give you one more example. I'm working with someone who works at the interface of innovative software development and legislative drafting. At that interface, there's a lot of knowledge that you cannot find anywhere except in his brain and in the brain of his partner. And so what is that for you? I would love for you to drop me a line, and we're about to come out with a free brilliance mining course, a mini course. We have also a paid full-on course, but the mini course will get you on your way. And so drop me a line here if you're interested in being alerted when that comes online, which will be in the next few days. All right, that's long enough. I hope you enjoyed it. Ciao.